Hey everybody, my name is Randy Blaukat and I'm a professional bass angler representing Bridgeford Food on the FLW Tour. And I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to the Facebook page, Bridgeford page, and we're going to start trying to have fishing tips throughout the course of the year, offer you a little bit of insight on what we do out here on the FLW Tour, and maybe just provide some entertainment in the process throughout the year. But what I want to do today is I want to go over our bass boat that we use on the tournament circuit, on the FLW circuit. A lot of people may not be familiar with bass fishing or tournament fishing. I want to sort of bring you up to date a little bit on that. But I just wanted to go through my boat, my rig here, and show you what it's like to sort of give you an idea. Now, starting out here, we got a 20-foot, almost a 21-foot bass boat, and this allows us to go all over the country. We can go 70 miles an hour in it. We can get in 8-foot waves if we have to. We can get in real shallow water. It's a real specialized boat that allows us to not only fish effectively, but allows us to cover great distances of water. You know, we have a 50-gallon gas tank in this boat, so you have like over a 200-mile range, which many times I've went over 200 miles in one day of fishing. So it's a really high-tech piece of equipment. Now, starting out here on the front of the boat, this is one of the most important parts of the boat. It's where I do all the fishing at. It's sort of my control area up here. I've got a 36-volt trolling motor in the front of the boat, and this allows me to maneuver around objects and basically fish really efficiently. I can get close to things, make good accurate casts. I can cover a lot of water, and I can be really quiet. It's like having a 2-horsepower motor on the front of your boat. It's controlled with a foot control here. I either push down or up, goes right or left on it. Also up front here I have my sonar unit / GPS unit, and it's, you know, people call it a fish finder, and you can find fish on it, but they're not necessarily bass. If you see a fish on a depth finder, it doesn't mean it's the type you're looking for, and it doesn't mean that they're going to bite if you do see them. Primarily we use this unit to find underwater structure, drop-offs, brush piles, rocks, whatever, you know, see if it's a hard bottom, if it's a soft bottom. It also shoots a sonar signal out to the side of the boat so we can see what's on the side of the boat underwater too. It's also got a GPS, a global positioning system unit, just like you have on a lot of cars, which allows us to navigate really effectively around the water. Shows contour lines, topographical, shows your drop-offs, the whole 9 yards. It's like having a lake map on the front of your boat. I've also got a hydrowave unit. This emits like a sound in the water that sounds like a fleeing shad, a bait fish or something, and sometimes that'll trigger an inactive bass to bite. And also I have some different switches as far as some gauges, aerator pumps, switches, which we'll go over later. Now, as far as on the front of the boat here, we also have lots of dry storage in here. I've got one dry storage where I keep all my motorcycle helmet, rain gear, tools, that type of stuff. I've got one that I put a lot of tackle in. I've got one I put my rods in. I've got a couple of ice chests, which I usually, you know, put baits in those too. We can put a lot of baits in here. A lot of times I'll have hundreds of pounds of lures and baits in here because you just never know what you're going to need. Now we'll step to the back of the boat here a little bit more, and I'll sort of go over what we have here. Here's the driver's console. This is an important part of the boat. It's where we do all the driving, obviously. It's got our control panel that not only allows us to operate our bilge pumps in case we get water in the boat, but it also allows us to control our live well system. And this is where we keep the bass at. Once we keep a bass, we'll put it in this live well, turn the aerators on, it pumps fresh water into the live well. We keep the fish in there all day long. We weigh them in, and then they're released unharmed back into the lake again. Take really good care of the fish. All the controls are here for it: horns, aerators, bilge pumps. Have another GPS unit here, sonar unit, identical to the front. It allows us to, this is really important because when I'm running down the lake, this allows me to see the bottom depth that I'm running in, and it allows me to you know, watch the area on the GPS so I can really find out where I'm going, and I can stay safe, make sure I don't get in too shallow water on this unit. And also I can idle around and look for good fish holding structure that then I can get on the front of the trolling motor and fish for those fish. A couple different gauges here too that control the back of the boat. Those two poles that you see in the back right here, these are called power poles, and they're shallow water anchors. And when you're in 8 foot of water or less, you can actually lower these things down in the water, and it locks the boat in position without moving it. It's really effective if you get into a shallow water area where the wind's blowing and you want to slow down, you put those down. Very, very important piece of the tool. Got our 250 horsepower motor, which will push the boat about 70 miles an hour. And we've got the hydraulic jack plate. And this hydraulic jack plate will allow the motor to go vertically, which allows us to get in more shallow water and control the RPMs on the boat a little bit better. Throttle controls right here. It doesn't have a gas pedal like a car does. All of our throttles right here. Power steering on the boat, which is real good. In the back of the boat here is our power system where we keep our batteries. The trolling motor is powered by three 12-volt marine batteries, and then we have one cranking battery for all of our big motor and all the pumps and that type of stuff. Onboard charger, oil pump right there. This is the sort of the brains of the boat. More storage compartments in the back here. It's a very, very efficient, specialized piece of equipment that we fish out of here, and you need it because sometimes we fish up at the Great Lakes where it's just like fishing in the ocean. Other times we're on river systems where it's real shallow and muddy, so we have to have a boat that can allow us to fish lots of different conditions. But this is the rig we fish the FLW route of. I'll be fishing all over the country this year. We're in Florida this week, be in South Carolina in a couple weeks, and over to Texas. So this is sort of the office that we spend our time in over 200 days a year. So thanks for joining in, and keep tuning back to the Bridgeford page. We're going to try to put videos and tips up all year long, and I appreciate your feedback, and thanks for tuning in.